The lure of the sea. David had always dreamed of living near the sea. He loved the sound of the waves, the smell of the salt, and the feeling of the sand under his feet. He had recently moved to a small coastal town, where he rented a cozy cottage that was only a few minutes' walk from the beach. He was staying alone, as he had no family or friends in the area. He worked as a freelance writer, so he could set his own schedule and enjoy his solitude. Every evening, he liked to take a stroll along the shore, watching the sun set over the horizon. He felt a sense of peace and wonder as he admired the beauty of nature. He often collected shells and stones that caught his eye, and kept them in a glass jar on his windowsill. One day, he found something different. It was a locket, or at least it looked like one. It was made of metal, with intricate carvings on both sides. It had no chain or clasp, and it seemed to be sealed shut. David was curious about what it contained, and why it was lying on the beach. He picked it up and examined it closely. It felt cold and heavy in his hand. He noticed that the carvings resembled waves and fish, and that there was a faint blue glow coming from inside. He decided to take it home with him, thinking that it might be valuable or interesting. He put it in his pocket and continued his walk. He didn't notice that the tide was rising faster than usual, or that the wind was picking up. That night, he had a strange dream. He dreamed that he was swimming in the ocean, surrounded by colorful fish and coral. He felt free and happy, as if he belonged there. He saw a bright light in the distance, and felt drawn to it. He swam towards it, and realized that it was coming from the locket. He reached out to touch it, but before he could, he woke up. He opened his eyes and gasped. He was not in his bed, but on the beach. The water was lapping at his feet, and the moon was shining above him. He felt cold and wet, and his clothes were soaked. He looked around and saw that he was alone. He had no idea how he got there, or how long he had been there. He panicked and tried to get up, but he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned around and saw a woman standing behind him. She had long dark hair that flowed over her shoulders, and pale skin that contrasted with her blue dress. She smiled at him and held out her hand. "Hello," she said in a soft voice. "Who are you?" David asked, feeling confused and scared. "I'm Celine," she said. "I've been waiting for you." She took a step closer to him. "I'm here to take you home." David felt a sudden surge of fear. He realized that she was not human. She had gills on her neck, and webbed fingers and toes. She was a creature of the sea. And she wanted him to join her. He tried to pull away from her, but she held him tight. He felt a strange attraction to her, as if she had cast a spell on him. He looked into her eyes, and saw a deep longing in them. She kissed him on the lips, and whispered in his ear. "Don't be afraid. This is your destiny. You belong with me." She dragged him into the water, and he felt his resistance fading away. He saw her face, and the locket, and nothing else. He closed his eyes and waited for the end. But it never came. He opened his eyes and gasped. He was not in the water, but in his bed. He felt dry and warm, and his clothes were clean. He looked around and saw that he was in his cottage. He had no idea how he got there, or what had happened. He wondered if it was all a dream, or a nightmare. He reached for his phone and checked the time. It was morning. He sighed in relief and tried to calm down. He decided to get up and make some coffee. He needed to clear his head and forget about the night. He got out of bed and walked towards the kitchen. But as he passed by his windowsill, he saw something that made him stop. It was the locket. It was still there, glowing faintly.